Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a very chilly Monday Night Live. It's not very often that I get to wear a sweater here in sunny South Florida, but today is one of those days. So, wherever you are listening to this from, I hope you're staying warm. And if you are listening to this on the replay, I hope it's not too hot for you. So, again, welcome everybody. My name is Laura Betts. Some people better know me as the Oxygen Lady. And tonight's topic, I'm going to talk about the dark side of the hyperbaric industry. I'm going to talk about something that is a little known fact among laymen's, among people that are just looking to do hyperbaric oxygen therapy. I have over 35 years of clinical hyperbaric experience. I grew up in the hyperbaric industry. I'll tell you a little bit about my personal story as we move forward. I'm very passionate about HBOT, and I want everybody to have the same opportunity for the miracle that I experienced because of hyperbaric oxygen therapy. So the industry is growing faster than enforcement. It's growing faster than education. And in some cases, it is profits over people. And we know that that doesn't work out very well for the person. So again, I'm going to peel back the curtain of the hyperbaric industry tonight, share a little bit of inside industry perspective, and stay tuned because I'm going to give you some valuable information in order to be able to ask questions so that you're better educated, so that you can ensure that you're getting the best opportunity for outcome and that you're choosing a proper hyperbaric facility. So again, welcome, welcome. So again, my name is Laura Betts. Again, as I said, I'm founder and facility director of HyperbaricsRx. We're down here in not so sunny South Florida today. And we also do telehealth all over the world. So wherever you are listening to this from, we do personalized health optimization and improvement programs. Again, everybody's got different root causes. Everybody essentially has different genetics. Your DNA is unique, and you need a personalized approach. You need a targeted approach. And our goal is to create the best opportunity for efficacy. And we want to accomplish as much as possible in meeting your health goals, in reducing your symptoms, and use as little as possible to do it. So whether they're supplements, whether they're hyperbaric oxygen therapy, whether it's a detox foot bath, whether it's oxygen aromatherapy, or whether it's some combination of all of the above included with diet and lifestyle changes, we want to have a impactful program. We want to do as little as possible to accomplish as much as possible. So it's a very different root cause approach there. Last week, I talked about why your cosmetic surgeon wants you to do hyperbaric oxygen therapy. I revealed 3 do's and 2 important don'ts. So if you haven't watched it, please go back and check it out on the replay. Now, again, we do Facebook Lives and we do YouTube Lives as well. And our videos themselves. So Facebook only keeps about 30 days of videos. They don't archive them anymore. So if you're looking for some of our older videos, you need to go to our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is HyperbaricsRx. You'll find many of our older videos there. And of course, we encourage you to like and subscribe so that you get notified of our upcoming topics and new videos as we post them. So again, welcome, welcome. It's great to see you here. So again, tonight's topic, the dark side of HBOT. I want to talk a little bit about intentionally undertreating. So sit back, relax, and buckle up because I am going to share some information that I am sure that some sites would not want me to share. But I'm very proud of what we do here at HyperbaricsRx. And my full story is on our YouTube page. I did take an opportunity to do that. And just giving you an overview, I set a woman's world record for scuba diving when I was 17. It was the youngest female trimix diver in the world, and it was youngest female depth record. And if somebody would have told me that I was sitting here today as a natural health practitioner talking on the internet, I'm not sure I would have believed them. But here we are, and there is something to be said for that the fact that we don't choose the things we believe in, they tend to choose us. And I am, again, very passionate about hyperbaric oxygen therapy. So one of the issues with the diving I was doing is it was done in the New York, New Jersey area. And what I now know is I had a lot of contaminated water exposure. There are some specific issues with the groundwater in that area from some military contracting and some of the environmental issues. And I'm swimming in that pretty often. And in my early 30s, I ended up with a tumor in my right breast, larger than a golf ball. It came out of absolutely nowhere. And as a scuba diver, as a mixed gas diving instructor, I had access to hyperbaric oxygen therapy. And again, this is going back a little ways. It wasn't as accessible as it is now. And of course, now we have the problem on the other side. Everybody and their brother has a hyperbaric chamber, but a lot of times they're not even doing real hyperbaric medicine. So again, one of my goals for this video tonight is to peel back the curtain and essentially give you some education, because while hyperbaric is amazing and hyperbaric is miraculous, the industry does have a little bit of a dark side to it, as it is growing faster than enforcement and education can keep up. So getting back to my personal story, so again, tumor in my right breast, and didn't have access to traditional healthcare, no access to insurance, and that was a blessing because it saved my life. So what I did have access to was a hyperbaric chamber, and 80 hyperbaric sessions later, a tumor in my right breast that was larger than a golf ball was completely gone. And that was pretty amazing to me. And one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about hyperbaric is because I know what proper dosage is able to do. And it wasn't just any old hyperbaric that worked for me. It was proper hyperbaric. It was proper dosage. And unfortunately, not all hyperbaric facilities are the same. Not all hyperbaric facilities are as outcome oriented as HyperbaricsRx is. And not all hyperbaric chamber manufacturers are the same. In fact, some of them are capitalizing on the buying frenzy, and their goal is to sell you a chamber and not create a relationship with you where they're going to continue to work with you. Here at HyperbaricsRx, the equipment company that has handled our equipment and done our servicing 25 years with the same organization. We have a relationship with them. They are not just family with it, they are part of our success. So again, I take that very, very seriously. And as somebody who grew up in the diving and hyperbaric industry, some of the things that are going on right now are just absolutely disgusting. So again, I want to peel back a little bit of the curtain on that and share some of the information about it. Now, one of the sad facts that's going on in the industry right now is when the oxygen is not administered properly, whether it's because of a lack of training, sometimes they just don't care. I mean, I've actually heard the comment made, well, they don't know any difference. They don't know how much oxygen they're breathing. Well, that might be true, but we still have an obligation to create the best opportunity for efficacy with the information we have. So this intentionally undertreating, and again, ignorance and malice, unfortunately, have the same result to the occupant. So there are chamber operators, there are commercial hyperbaric sites that know that they're not using any oxygen, or know that their oxygen system is not properly spec'd and is incapable of delivering something called RMV, that's respiratory minute volume, and the built-in breathing system, the oxygen mask needs a certain amount of oxygen to be delivered to it, and the equipment needs to be able to function in accordance of the appropriate, it needs to be matched for the hyperbaric chamber. And if the equipment doesn't match the working pressure of the chamber, if it can't handle the back pressure, you don't get enough oxygen. And again, this is another reason why you want to be working with an ANDI Certified Hyperbaric Facility. This is another reason why you want to be working with ANDI Certified Chamber Operators. There's just a big difference there. Now, I've talked about in other videos about the three most important things in hyperbaric oxygen therapy. But interestingly enough, a point that I might not have made as clearly as in some cases, the person finishes the hyperbaric session with less oxygen dissolved in their tissues than when they started. Now, the O in HBOT stands for oxygen. We're not supposed to be breathing air for any significant amount of time under pressure. Air might be used as a travel gas, air time up, time down. Some hyperbaric protocols, especially a lot of the research protocols, they will bring them to target pressure on air. They will spend the treatment time on oxygen, and then it may be appropriate to switch them back to air. Diver recompression protocols, diver treatment protocols do that. And there is something called an air break, and that's a little bit more detail of a topic. I'll do a topic on air breaks another day. In this Dark Side of HBOT series, one of the sections I'm going to do is on air breaks, or rather lack of using them. So hang out, make sure you subscribe and check out for that. So, again, this issue here of not properly using oxygen. Now, if there's some ignorance, that's a little bit different discussion, but that's where I go and I put it back on the chamber manufacturers. We do trade shows, and I am constantly amazed at some of the information. And of course, not everybody, I joke, one of my best gifts is that people underestimate me. So somebody looking at me in my business suit might not guess that I'm a CHTI and that I can fully service all sorts of scuba diving and hyperbaric equipment. I mean, I can disassemble compressors, I can run lines. I mean, I can do some pretty snazzy stuff. So in this case, they start talking about things, not realizing that they're speaking with somebody that understands the engineering, or rather lack of it, that they're discussing. And at one of these trade shows, the comment came up in relation to the insufficient working pressure of the hyperbaric chamber. And the pressure, the amount of pressure that a chamber is able to work with. Here at HyperbaricsRx, our systems are 3 ATA. We actually have a couple that are a touch higher than that. They're rated for a little bit more than 3 ATA working pressure. And that's really important because you need a certain amount of pressure in order to deliver an appropriate partial pressure of oxygen. Partial pressure of oxygen is the dosage. So if the chamber isn't capable of reaching the target pressure for the protocol, it's never capable of delivering the opportunity for efficacy. And in this discussion, in this point that the equipment really wasn't appropriate for the kinds of protocols that most hyperbaric indications require, the comment was made, well, that's good because they'll just have to buy more sessions. And that makes me sick, because I happen to know that some of the hyperbaric mechanisms, they do not stack, meaning that doing 2 low pressure sessions does not equal 1 high pressure session. It doesn't work like that. The chemical reactions are very dosage dependent. So if you never reach a high enough target pressure, they may be getting some benefit in relation to other mechanisms, but they're never turning on that switch. They're never engaging that mechanism of action, that chemistry that's necessary in order to create that opportunity for efficacy. Now, hyperbaric, it's subtle. if one hyperbaric session fixed everything, we certainly would hopefully be using it in a very different capacity. Like with most therapies, like with many things, you need to do it more than once. I mean, again, working out, if you go to the gym one day or you go through a run one day, yeah, that was a great day, but you're not going to achieve your fitness goals, your health improvement goals in one day. It just doesn't work like that. So same is true for hyperbaric. So intentionally undertreating, knowing that the working pressure is inadequate, knowing that the oxygen supply is inadequate, and doing it anyway. And that is not creating the opportunity for efficacy. It's profits over people. And unfortunately, by the time the end user realizes what happened, a lot of times they've given up on hyperbaric oxygen therapy. And that's really frustrating for me because, as I've shared with you, not only do I have a personal hyperbaric narrative, not only do I have my own hyperbaric miracle, but in some cases with these complex conditions, when you've got multiple organs that are severely out of balance, when you've got complex symptoms progression, I can make a clinical argument that they're not going to be able to get better without enhanced oxygen mechanisms, that they're not going to be able to overcome all of these issues efficiently without a boost. And we see this in wound care all the time. The body's ability to repair the tissue has failed. And it's only a matter of time before the wound gets worse and worse and worse, ultimately needing the limb to be amputated to prevent the person from going septic and passing away. So waiting doesn't matter. It's already failed. The body's healing mechanism, the body's regenerative mechanism has broken down. So we need the hyperbaric intervention. And yes, when we're talking about wellness, when we're talking about enhancing, it's a different discussion than when we're talking about repairing. So when we're trying to enhance, we're assuming that we're already at a positive baseline or a neutral baseline. But when we're in a negative cascade, when we've got system failures, when we're trying to repair and restore normal function, it's a very different discussion. That's not wellness anymore. And again, not all hyperbaric chamber manufacturers are the same. Not all hyperbaric chambers go to the same dosage. Not every site is using properly spec'd oxygen systems that can supply respiratory minute volume, an adequate supply of oxygen to the built-in breathing system. And one of the things that's happening is some sites, they're knowingly not using any oxygen at all. And the premise of that is that air's got some oxygen in it, but it's just not the way it works. I've done some other long form videos on this where I break down the dosage math on that. And there's a white paper on our website that I've written called The Difference Between HBAT and HBOT. If you'd like a copy of that, please go ahead and put your information in the chat or give us an email at info@hyperbarricsrx.com, and we'll be very happy to send you a PDF of that. Again, you can go ahead and request the white paper, The Difference Between HBAT and HBOT, by putting your information in the chat, or send us a direct message, an email to info@hyperbarricsrx.com, and we'll be very happy to email you a copy of that PDF. So again, the O in the HBOT is oxygen. And when the oxygen source is not used properly and the person is breathing a higher partial pressure of nitrogen, a dosage of nitrogen, the irony is they start the hyperbaric session with more dissolved oxygen in their tissues than they finish. The higher amount of oxygen technically displaces the oxygen in the tissues, and they're worse off than when they started. And again, that's really frustrating for me because hyperbaric is amazing. It has incredible mechanisms of action that are clinically documented. This isn't a theory. These are clinical facts. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy has been used in common practice since 1937. We've been treating scuba diving injuries with hyperbaric oxygen therapy as a standard of care since 1937. It's really nothing new. So again, choosing a proper hyperbaric facility behind the scenes in all of this, you don't have to become an engineer. You just want to make sure that you're choosing an ANDI certified hyperbaric facility like HyperbaricsRx with ANDI certified chamber operators on staff. Now, again, I talked a little bit about what a proper hyperbaric protocol is. And it's a relationship of a few different things. Number one is dosage. That's the amount of oxygen that's being delivered to your body. Duration. So you could have good dosage, but if the session isn't long enough, we're not creating an opportunity or an optimal opportunity for efficacy. Many of those switches that are engaged are only on at the target pressure. Those chemical reactions are only happening at the treatment dosage. So if you don't spend enough time there, duration, it's limiting that opportunity for efficacy. Now, frequency, how often we're doing it, frequency matters as well. Again, if we're trying to enhance, it's a different discussion than if we're trying to repair. And when we're trying to repair, if we don't have enough of the therapy, if we don't do it with an appropriate frequency, then again, we're limiting the opportunity for efficacy. And of course, series matters as well. Series is how many sessions we're doing. So you could have dosage, you could have duration, you could even have frequency, but if you don't create an opportunity for efficacy, it can become pretty problematic. And this is, again, another reason why you want to choose an ANDI certified hyperbaric facility. Now, one of the distinct differences of an ANDI certified site is where their protocols come from. Not every hyperbaric facility does customized dive profiles, personalized dive plans like we do here at HyperbaricsRx. A lot of sites, for one reason or another, treat everybody at the same dosage. And sometimes they're doing that because they are not equipped to treat at higher dosages. Sometimes they're doing that because they are limited and their top dosage is barely efficacious, or there's some misinformation there, or they don't care. And a hyperbaric session is a hyperbaric session, and we're just going to treat everybody at the same dosage, and it doesn't really matter. And I've talked about this at length in some of my other videos. Again, hyperbaric mechanisms are very dosage dependent. The three most important things in hyperbaric therapy are dosage, dosage, and dosage. And just a little heads up, by the way, the three most overlooked things in hyperbaric therapy are drainage, drainage, and drainage. So in our video next week, I'm going to talk about our opening channels program, and detoxification and drainage are not the same thing. And a lot of the challenges that you're dealing with, from brain fog to aches and pains to obvious issues like constipation, but less obvious issues like weight gain, a lot of them may have to deal with drainage dysfunction. And when you open the body's natural drainage pathways, it creates a massive synergistic benefit with hyperbaric oxygen therapy, and it puts the body in a ability to better clear many of the, not only our own cellular waste, but a lot of the environmental toxins that we're exposed to. And we are exposed to an awful lot of them. And it's not a lot all at once. it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of that, but they stack, they add up over time. So we've got a lot of cumulative environmental toxicity, and it's another reason why opening channels is so important. So make sure you check us out next week. Now, I was talking about ANDI Certified Hyperbaric Facilities, and ANDI Certified Hyperbaric Facilities are using the ANDI Facility Protocol List. So they have a distinct more amount of information. And the protocol list is based on clinical research. ANDI is an international organization. Outside of the United States, hyperbaric is used differently in other countries. And in some countries, it is a standard of care for indications that are not standard in another country. So we have these incredible data models of safety and efficacy on the international level that helps to determine protocols. Now, in the ANDI training system, in the ANDI Hyperbaric Facility program, there are also what are called research protocols. And these are conditions that they tend to not be covered by insurance. And this is another reason why you really want to make sure that you're going to an ANDI Hyperbaric facility. Because when we're dealing with a research protocol, how do you know the protocol is any good? Where'd this protocol come from? Who made up this protocol? Even if you're talking about, well, my doctor said, okay, where did your doctor get that information from? Did your doctor just guess at it? Is it based on published research? Is it based on real-time data that's been fed back and evaluated by a medical board? Or is it just a guess? And at ANDI Hyperbaric Facilities, there are no guessing. So there are several hundred protocols in the ANDI Hyperbaric Facility protocol list. And these protocols are based on clinical research. They are determined by the ANDI Diving and Medical Board. I happen to sit on that medical board, by the way. I'm a longtime member. I also sit on the medical board of the International Hyperbaric Medical Foundation. And the ANDI Medical Board determines the protocols, and before it makes it to the protocol list, it is fed out to the research sites. Now, HyperbaricsRx happens to be one of the ANDI training and research facilities. So it's an absolute privilege to participate in these studies and really be a part of diving and hyperbaric history. And we've worked on some really awesome stuff. I'll do some more videos on that. I've talked a little bit about that. So the research sites are feeding back data real time. And if the model isn't working, then it doesn't make it to the protocol list. But the alternative is also true. As we are able to document efficacy, and this is done by diagnostics, this is done by symptom surveys, this is done by feedback and evaluation from the prescribing medical doctor. And all of that comes together and it creates these protocols. And essentially, we are creating a better opportunity for efficacy because it's not just a guess. We've got protocols. And in some cases, these protocols were the research was done on them at the research sites 10, 15, 20 years ago. ANDI, as an organization, is almost 40 years old. So we've got an incredible amount of experience there. And if you're new to hyperbaric medicine and you're a facility and you're listening to this, you don't have to reinvent the wheel and learn on your patients. We would love to have you as a member of the ANDI Hyperbaric Facility Program. So you want to reach out to andihq.com and find out about how you meet that criteria, how you get accredited, and how you become an ANDI hyperbaric facility. So again, big differences there. So when we're talking about fibromyalgia, when we're talking about traumatic brain injury, when we're talking about multiple sclerosis, when we're talking about conditions that are more rare, like neuromyelitis optica, and Morgellons. There are research protocols that have been established for this. And the goal here is to create the best opportunity for efficacy. Now, again, nothing is guaranteed. So, as with any therapy, we don't know how somebody is going to respond to it until after they've already done it. So, again, this is another reason why the research protocol is so important and why undertreating is so disgusting. In some cases, it never creates the opportunity for efficacy. Now, if this is a situation where there's no access, like some of the early days of hyperbaric medicine, it might be a slightly different discussion, right? So there's no facilities for them to go to. There's no ability. So while the dosage isn't optimal, it is a bacteriostatic dosage. It is loading a higher partial pressure of oxygen. It does meet ANDI's definition for hyperbaric oxygen therapy. And we talk about that in many of the ANDI training programs, including the ANDI Certified Chamber Operator course. The next one is coming up in March. So if you're looking for some real information, please enroll in the program. It is open to anyone over the age of 18. So awesome, awesome. And again, bringing this back around. So the program itself, the hyperbaric facility program, it's creating this opportunity for efficacy. Again, some of these switches in the body, they're only on at the proper target pressure. So if we don't have enough dosage, we're not creating an opportunity. And it's important that we have an understanding. And, using that access issue, if we've got a condition that has a high dosage requirement, like 2.4 ATA, and that's dosage of oxygen, that's PO2 at bibs, that's not pressure. And all that's accessible is a 1.75 ATA. Okay, well, 1.75 is not 2.4, but we know the dosage and we can evaluate and we're making an informed decision. But that's not what's happening in these cases. And again, in a lot of situations, this dark side of HBOT, they are intentionally undertreating with the concept that the person is just going to need to keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. And I've done consults on this, and the client is wondering, when do they get better? And a lot of times these come through the medical board and they're coming out of state, and through some colleagues, they're saying, hey, you should really talk to Laura. She's an oxygen expert, and see what's going on, because that doesn't sound right. And yeah, it's not right. They're not getting enough hyperbaric oxygen. They're not getting a appropriate partial pressure of oxygen to create an opportunity for efficacy. And again, if that was me, if I didn't have a appropriate partial pressure of oxygen, then my hyperbaric miracle would have never happened, and I wouldn't be here to talk to you about it. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy literally saved my life, and I want to see everybody, at the very least, have the opportunity for efficacy that I did. Again, we don't know how somebody's going to respond exactly, but we certainly want to make sure that we are giving it the best shot. And hyperbaric, because it is non-invasive, because it is well tolerated, and because it has very, very few, some of them, they call them side effects. It's not quite like how side effects of pharmaceuticals can present the longer and longer you're on the drug. It's not exactly the same. Overall, it's very, very well tolerated, and it has very few side effects. And most of them are a consequence of having properly trained, properly certified operators. As of the date of this video, ANDI Certified Hyperbaric Facilities have a 36-year perfect safety record. Perfect. Never been an incident, never been an accident at an ANDI Certified Hyperbaric Facility. So we keep saying that we're not going to be able to keep saying that as the agency grows, and sooner or later. But as it stands now, ANDI Hyperbaric Facilities have a perfect safety record. We're the only organization that can say that, and it's not magic. It's safety, it's a commitment to excellence, and it is a passion for hyperbaric oxygen therapy. If you haven't noticed, I really care about it, and I want to be able to see you benefit from it as well. So again, I hope this give you some inside information. Feel free to ask questions. Please check out some of my other videos. And you want to make sure when you're choosing a hyperbaric facility, understand they are not all the same. And you want to make sure that you're choosing an ANDI certified hyperbaric facility like HyperbaricsRx. Now, we are a little bit different. We are the first and only holistic hyperbaric center of its kind, and hyperbaric oxygen therapy is amazing. But what we also do is we use some pretty cool state of the art interventions. We use some state of the art tools to help determine the underlying root causes. So again, and our goal here is to create the optimal opportunity for efficacy. We are personalizing the protocol, and while oxygen is the primary component, it's not the only component. So sometimes we need to do some detox. Sometimes there's a parasite component to it. Sometimes there's a nutritional deficiency. And again, we use state-of-the-art analysis methods to determine what's actually going on, what your body actually needs in order to create the best opportunity for efficacy. Now, as I mentioned, we are an ANDI certified hyperbaric facility. We do have certified chamber operators on staff, and we offer a complimentary consultation. So again, if you're considering hyperbaric oxygen therapy, if you want to learn how hyperbaric oxygen therapy can help you and improve your overall health and well-being, we encourage you to reach out to our facility. As I said, we do offer a complimentary consultation. Now, if you're not local to us, we do offer health improvement programs all around the world, and those are also personal, and no two clients are the same. They are personalized to your individual needs, your individual symptom issues, your specific root causes. And it's not just in general, it's also in the order that your body needs for it to heal. So again, I also want to make the point that we're using hospital grade PVHO ASME certified hard-sided hyperbaric chambers. The hyperbaric industry has unfortunately been inundated with essentially illegal hyperbaric chambers. These chambers are coming from other countries. They are being smuggled through customs, and the chambers do not have PVHO ASME certification. And that's really important. PVHO ASME means that the chamber cannot catastrophically fail. So the possibility of catastrophic decompression is not possible with a PVHO ASME hyperbaric chamber. They're designed and engineered for that very reason. It's kind of the whole point of it. And just because they've tested a chamber once and the chamber didn't fail doesn't mean that the chamber meets PVHO ASME. And PVHO stands for pressure vessel for human occupancy. There is a full safety standard for pressure vessels. It's an extensive engineering standard. And again, you shouldn't have to risk your life to get a little bit more oxygen. And whether you're trying to enhance or you're trying to repair, there's a really big difference there. So again, it really is important. I did mention when I was speaking earlier that we are not just an ANDI certified hyperbaric facility, we're also an ANDI certified training and research site. So people come from all over the world to do hands-on chamber operation here at our facility. And again, it's a privilege to be one of the research sites in the country. So we have cutting edge information. A lot of times we have protocols and updates on many of the mechanisms of action, the effects of the increased solubility of oxygen before it's even been published or before it's been published in a new approach. This new information comes to light. So pretty amazing there. And again, it translates to our opportunity for efficacy. I am a very results oriented practitioner, and my goal is to help get to the root causes and help improve your health, help restore, rebalance your health naturally. So it's a big difference as to what we offer. And then we pair that with personalized nutrition, targeted detox. Even if you're talking about weight loss, it needs to be specific. If it was just about calories, you would have handled that already. So again, a little bit more to it. And as I mentioned, we have discounted dive packages. We've got wellness programs. So if you are looking to do some wellness sessions, again, you shouldn't have to risk your life to get a little bit more oxygen. And in some cases, you're finishing, as I mentioned when we were talking about earlier, you're not getting an adequate amount of oxygen to even call it a true wellness session. You're finishing with the equivalent of a lower partial pressure of oxygen in your tissues than when you started. So again, another big difference about an ANDI certified hyperbaric facility. And as I mentioned, we have programs to specifically support and rebalance the body. We use physician grade whole food supplements. We use homeopathy. We use herbs and some special products using something called carbon technology. So I encourage you to reach out and do a consult with us. Again, we are foundational practice. I actually pioneered something called foundational hyperbaric medicine, which is combining these personalized health improvement interventions with hyperbaric oxygen therapy. So the targeted supplementation works pretty well on its own. The hyperbaric works pretty well on its own. But when you combine them together, you get this really amazing effect of being able to achieve much more. It works really synergistically with less hyperbaric and with less supplements. So if you're taking a handful of supplements and you're absolutely exhausted, then I might be somebody that you should speak to. So again, we do these every Monday at 6 o'clock, and today has been a very chilly Monday, and I look forward to seeing you on our next live. So again, my name is Laura Betts. I'm founder and facility director of HyperbaricsRx down here in South Florida, but we do telehealth all over the world. Some of you better know me as the Oxygen Lady, and again, I look forward to helping you improve, rebalance, restore, repair your health naturally. Please feel free to direct message me or reach out to our facility. Again, we can't help you if you don't let us. So it's been absolutely amazing. Stay warm, everybody, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great night.